Unpredictability and uncertainty are scary for a lot of people. Every metaphorical button we press or decision we make could set off a chain reaction we can't anticipate. That's why in the TV show The Rehearsal, the protagonist, Nathan Fielder, helps people rehearse tough moments over and over again.
If you plan for every variable, a happy outcome doesn't have to be left to chance.
For example, in one episode, a trivia enthusiast plans to tell his friend he lied about having a master's degree, so Nathan hires an actor to play the friend and builds a full-scale replica of the bar for the confession.
Oh my gosh.
This spice rack, it's the exact spices they have, the garlic, the basil.
To ensure nothing goes wrong, Nathan hires actors to discreetly share the answers to trivia questions.
Building's looking pretty tall.
It is tall, but it's not the tallest building in the world. That would be the Burj Khalifa in Dubai.
The Rehearsal is an elaborate scheme to control every outcome, but maybe leaving events to chance doesn't have to be so agonizing. Unlike The Rehearsal, Robert Musil's novel, The Man Without Qualities, shows how uncertainty can actually open up a whole universe of possibility. If life isn't set in stone, we can revise it along the way.
Anyone possessing it does not say, for instance, "Here, this or that has happened, will happen, must happen." He uses his imagination and says, "Here, such and such might, should, or ought to happen." And if he is told that something is the way it is, then he thinks, well, it could probably just as easily be some other way.
It was just this exceptional book about not being sure about anything.
When Sophie Atkinson started reading The Man Without Qualities, she was on the cusp of 30 and also not feeling particularly sure about anything. She was living in Germany, unsure about returning to Britain, and also unsure about her relationship and her job. Then she met Ulrich, the protagonist in The Man Without Qualities, a man not defined by his character or anything really.
In his previous lives, he had been a soldier, an engineer, a mathematician, fields that sort of reward precision and certainty. And despite all of that, throughout the book, he makes a real virtue out of uncertainty and is really emphatic about questioning yourself being a mark of, intellectual strength.
No matter how much we try to control it, the world actually is uncertain and chaotic and fluid. Sophie wrote about the experience reading the novel in an essay for Astro magazine titled "I'm Certain About the Man Without Qualities." At one point, she even tried reading a version of the text with only adjectives and adverbs. It's called "The Qualities Without Man."
When you actually read all of these adjectives in a row, you get a sense of the novel as something that's infinitely soft or gauzy, and there's almost no firm ground.
The Man Without Qualities also shows us how our jobs don't have to define who we are. Job titles can change, and we're still mysteriously the same people. But in fields like the arts or theater, it can be difficult for who we are not to be defined by our occupation.
It is like a capitalist, intentional loop that keeps us prioritizing our jobs as our primary identifiers.
That's Sarah Augusta. Ever since elementary school, she was a theater kid. As an adult, theater became her professional identity. But over time, she burned out.
We were always working second jobs. We were always juggling, and I got really sick, and I was like, I gotta pull the plug.
Leaving that job was both really hard and liberating. The exit opened up options and possibilities.
It was like a kind of an explosion where it felt like I don't have to do any of this. I can be free.
Sarah later pivoted to a job in public radio. After taking a buyout, she's now starting a bookstore, the perfect setting for people looking to explore endless possibilities.
If I had to pick a second identity as a kid, as myself, it would be as a reader. It would just be like a love of books.
Robert Musil says good librarians must never read anything more than the title and table of contents. He says a lot of funny things. And this idea of not having qualities is a funny one too. Refusing to commit to any fixed identity can make it difficult to act at all. Like for Sophie Atkinson, she realized she had to start making decisions eventually.
So I broke up with my boyfriend. I decided to move back to my hometown in the UK. And I decided to be a full-time journalist.
But she also didn't have to stick to that decision forever. Now, she's working on a novel about work.
It feels a bit like driving at night along a country lane and you kind of can't see much further than the headlights, but you just keep going.
For now, she might prefer unpredictability over knowing, but who knows? As Musil says, it could probably just as easily be some other way. For Philosophy Talk, I'm Holly J. McDede.